Most people think flying is straightforward. Check in, board, buckle up, and wait for takeoff. But the truth? Commercial aviation is a world built on silent coordination, invisible routines, and decisions you were never meant to notice. Not because they're secret in a shady way, but because the entire experience is designed to feel effortless. Behind every calm announcement and every dimmed cabin light lies a carefully rehearsed system meant to manage risk, emotion, and control. Flying isn't chaos held together by luck. It's a finely tuned illusion of ease. In the next 10 minutes, you'll uncover 15 behind-the-scenes realities that seasoned travelers quietly understand, the ones airlines rarely mention out loud. If you think you already know how air travel works, stay tuned until the end, because the final truth isn't even part of standard flight training. Now, let's take off. Part 1. What you see versus what it really means. Ever notice how the lights dim before takeoff or landing? It feels soothing, like they're setting the mood. But that soft glow has nothing to do with comfort. It's about readiness. In an emergency, your eyes must instantly adjust to outside light, especially if the cabin needs to be evacuated at night. Bright lights would leave you temporarily blinded. So the dimming is not for ambiance. It's a subtle rehearsal for survival. That same quiet precision applies when a flight attendant greets you. Their smile isn't just hospitality, it's assessment. Within a single glance, they're trained to notice who looks calm, who seems unwell, who might be intoxicated, or who could be useful in a crisis. It's not judgment, it's preparation. Before you even sit down, you've already been profiled for safety. And speaking of seats, the one you choose might matter more than you think. First class may promise comfort, but in several crash analyses, the tail section showed higher survival rates. There's no guarantee, of course, but statistically, the rear of the plane often endures impact differently. Meanwhile, aisle seats offer freedom and vulnerability. You're more exposed to carts, passengers, and turbulence jolts. The choice is always a balance between access and risk. So the things that appear routine, the lights, the greetings, the seating, aren't random. They're coded layers of control designed to keep order in a space where everything depends on precision. Part 2. Hidden spaces and silent systems. Ever wondered where the crew goes when you don't see them? On long-haul flights, they rest in hidden cabins, built directly into the aircraft. Tiny enclosed spaces tucked above or below the passenger deck. No windows. Barely enough room to stand. Just bunks stacked neatly accessible by an unmarked hatch or staircase. While you're watching a movie or stretching your legs, the people keeping you safe are catching essential minutes of sleep just a few feet away, unseen but always ready. It's not secrecy, it's endurance by design. And yes, even your pilots take turns sleeping. It's called controlled rest. On transcontinental flights, autopilot manages altitude and direction, while one pilot stays alert and another rests. In ultra-long flights, a third pilot joins the rotation. This isn't negligence, it's law. Fatigue at 36,000 feet is more dangerous than turbulence. Rest is part of safety. Now let's talk about those oxygen masks, everyone's favorite in-flight mystery. You've seen the demo, but here's what's rarely explained. Those masks only provide oxygen for about 12 to 15 minutes. Why so short? Because that's how long it takes for the plane to descend from cruising altitude to breathable air levels. Their only job is to keep you conscious during that critical drop. Without oxygen, awareness fades in seconds. That's why when the masks fall, the rule is simple. Put yours on first, instantly. Every second counts. Up here, nothing is casual. Rest is scheduled. Pressure is calculated. Safety is silent but constant. Every light, every gesture, every procedure you've ever overlooked is part of a larger choreography. One designed not just to move you across continents, but to keep hundreds of lives balanced in the air. Category 3. Airline practices you were never meant to notice. Every time you step on a plane, you assume it's flawless. Every button working, every light in order, every system perfect. But perfection isn't required to fly. Behind the scenes, every airline operates under something called the Minimum Equipment List, a manual that decides which systems must work before takeoff and which ones don't matter. A faulty reading light? Still airworthy. A jammed coffee maker? No problem. Even certain cockpit indicators can be deferred, as long as backups exist. It's legal, it's regulated, and it happens every single day. The next time you hear airworthy, remember it doesn't always mean flawless. It means functional enough to meet the standard. Now, let's talk about your ticket. That confirmed seat isn't guaranteed. Overbooking isn't an accident, it's strategy. Airlines sell more seats than they have because statistics tell them not everyone shows up. When they guess wrong, it's you who pays the price. Missing a connection, an event, a moment you can't redo. To the system, it's not personal, it's probability. And even privacy isn't what you think it is. That bathroom door that locks from the inside, the crew can open it in seconds. Behind the occupied sign is a hidden latch used in emergencies to help someone sick, unresponsive, or worse. It's a safety feature that quietly erases the illusion of total privacy. On a plane, everything that feels personal is really just managed access, permission you're borrowing from a system designed for control. If this surprises you, good, because understanding how airlines think isn't about fear, it's about flying smarter. Now, let's move to what you're really consuming at 36,000 feet.
Category 4. What you're actually consuming in the air. Let's start with your tray table. It looks spotless. It's not. Between flights, crews have minutes, not hours, to clean. Swab tests from independent labs have found tray tables with bacterial counts that rival public restrooms. It's not negligence, it's time pressure. Hundreds of people eat, sneeze, and rest their belongings on that surface every day. So before you set down your meal or laptop, do one simple thing. Wipe it, always. Then there's the water. That steaming cup of coffee or tea doesn't come from bottled water. It's drawn from the aircraft's internal tanks, which are cleaned far less frequently than you'd expect. Multiple studies have found traces of bacteria, including E. coli, inside those systems. It's technically safe according to standards, but here's a clue: most flight attendants avoid it themselves. They'll choose sealed bottled water every time, and so should you. And finally, the air you breathe. Most travelers assume it's fresh from outside. It's not. Cabin air is a mix, roughly half recycled, half drawn in, and filtered through HEPA systems designed to remove nearly all airborne bacteria and viruses. These filters are hospital grade, but not perfect. In a pressurized metal tube shared by hundreds, viruses spread through proximity, not just air. That's why small habits, hand sanitizer, hydration, even a mask in flu season aren't paranoia, they're protection. In the sky, cleanliness is assumed, not guaranteed. And once you understand that, you stop flying passively and start flying consciously. Category 5. Myths, misconceptions, and mindful flying. Please switch your devices to airplane mode. It's a phrase we've all tuned out. But here's the truth. Your phone won't crash the plane, but hundreds of active signals can create faint interference in cockpit radio channels, especially during approach and takeoff. Airplane mode isn't superstition, it's signal discipline, keeping communication channels clean when clarity matters most. Now for one of aviation's strangest facts. Planes get hit by lightning all the time, usually once or twice a year per aircraft. You almost never feel it because the metal shell of the plane is built to conduct electricity around it and release it safely. The lightning doesn't damage the jet, it flows through it. So the next time you see a flash outside your window, you're probably witnessing an engineering miracle in action. But not every flight ends with applause. Occasionally, tragedy happens midair. If a passenger dies, crews follow a quiet, dignified procedure. The body is covered, sometimes moved to an empty row, and left undisturbed until landing. Some aircraft even carry small care kits, discrete materials meant for these rare but real situations. There's no morgue, no secret compartment, just professionalism that most passengers will never know existed. That's the thing about modern aviation. It's built on quiet control. You're surrounded by layers of preparation so subtle you barely notice them. From dim lights to hidden hatches, from crew rest compartments to overbooked flights, the system works not because it's flawless, but because it's disciplined. Flying isn't magic, it's mastery of the unpredictable. So, the next time you board, remember, calm isn't the absence of chaos, it's how aviation hides it. And now that you know, you'll never see your next flight the same way again. Because up here, knowledge is your safest seatbelt.